Hey guys. Okay, so I was asked a question about the video that I posted on the one about you not being your body, your mind, your emotions. And someone asked me, what was the question? Can you elaborate about connection to people based on emotions? And I was like, oh my goodness, yes, I got to answer it right now. Okay, so this is the thing. Connecting to people based on emotions um is probably the least trustworthy place that you can connect with someone on. Um, I do not trust emotional connections alone, and I'm gonna tell you why. In the Bible, there's a script, and I'm not religious, okay, but if there's something true, I don't care what religion said it, I'll say it. But you know how the Bible has this verse or something about the heart is deceitfully wicked or is the most deceptive of all? This is the reason why when you connect with people on an emotional level, it comes from the emotional body. Okay, so as beings, okay, when we're here, we have an auric field. We have these different layers to the makeup of our being in this realm. Okay, one of those layers of our makeup is the emotional body. The emotional body is where we make emotional connections from. So when we meet someone and we feel an emotional connection, our emotional body is connecting with their emotional body in a certain way. That is what can make an intensity. So the more connections that we're making from my emotional body to their emotional body, then the bigger that intensity is going to be. This is the problem with that, though. This is why you can feel it so strongly. And it feels so deep because it's happening in an auric level of the self, but in the emotional body. This is the thing though. You don't know what part of the emotional bodies are connecting. So this is why I don't trust emotional connections above all. Feelings don't mean anything to me because if I have in my emotional body a whole lot of pain and then you have in your emotional body a whole lot of pain, that our pain kind of goes together like a key and a lock. I will know that I will feel this intensity with you. I will feel this strong pull and attraction from my pain body or my emotional body to your emotional body. So because that is deceptive, I won't just go off of any emotional connection. I need to look at what is going on in some of the other bodies, and some of the other compatibilities that are going on that tell me what this intensity is. Intensity does not mean anything to me. It only means that there's something in our emotional bodies. It could be from past lives, this life. I don't know what it is yet. So the only thing that I am knowing for sure, because I feel something really intense with this person, is that our emotional bodies have something similar going on. Okay, so whatever my level of pain is, they have a similar level, but it depends. It can just go together in a different way. It may not be the exact same pain, but there's some resonance between our emotional bodies. It doesn't mean anything because I don't know, is that resonance from the is that resonance coming from the better parts of the emotional body? But see, this is the thing about that, is usually not. This is why I don't trust it. This is why they say the heart is deceptively wicked. Because you cannot decipher in the emotional bodies what parts are pulling you. Your emotional body it will pull you in the direction of different things, but it's harder to decipher what it is because it's always unconscious. So and what I like to do is take multiple layers of myself to consider an experience. So I don't want to just consider it with my emotional body, because my emotional body could have wounds, unhealed pains, and things that will make my emotional body, it will lead me in certain directions. So, okay, I take into account that yes, my emotional body is trying to connect with this person. We have something similar in our emotional bodies that is pulling us together because it is very magnetic, okay? But that it what I want to do is see how other levels of our bodies are similar or if we're actually connecting on other levels other than this emotional body, if I don't find that we're connecting on a lot of our bodies, then I know to throw out the emotional connection. Just because I know then for sure that it's some pain in me that is pulling me to this person, and all we're gonna do is play out that pain on each other. It's gonna hurt. So what I do instead is try to look at what is it that is pulling me to this person. So then I go into my mental body, my spiritual body. I may look at things with that person, like who they are. That tells me a lot. Like, say for instance, my emotional body is pulling me to someone who is like married or unavailable, or just in some way I feel like my emotional body shouldn't be pulling me to them. It has to be something unhealthy or some pain within me that my emotional body would be pulling me to someone who's really not emotionally open. See, because a person in that type of situation, they're not fully emotionally open for me, because they have someone else that is occupying space for them. Okay. So I look at things like that to begin to evaluate emotional connections, but emotional connections would be the connections that I would trust least of all. And it's a funny thing because people use the emotional connection to get into relationships, and I think it's the worst connection that you can use to get into relationships. And this is the reason that most relationships fail, that they don't work out. And this is why, because this is what people are talking about when they say they meet someone but they didn't feel a spark. So what they're saying is, I didn't feel something off in my emotional body that immediately clicked with what was off in their emotional body to give me a feel-good charge of coming together with them. So then that must mean that all of our other bodies and faculties will not be able to connect. And there's nothing further from the truth. Actually, the people that you meet and you don't have that spark, it's better. Those are the people who you're more likely to actually have lasting, loving, healthy, growing, fulfilling relationships with, because you're not meeting and pulling together based on that emotional body charge that is coming from your energetic emotional field, from wounds and pains and buildup within the emotional body. Because what happens is, once you do not have a lot of pain or buildup or wounds in the emotional body, you do not experience that intensity anymore. And because you don't need it anyway also, but that's a whole nother topic, because I could go really deep into that, but I'm not going to do that just for the sake of staying kind of on topic. It'll kind of seem like I'm going all over the place. But, people are looking for that type of pull, and that's really the last pull that you really want to be looking at. Because see, what'll happen is, if you connect not from like pain of each other's emotional bodies sucking you two in like magnets, but if you do it instead from the other fields of your being, which can be even the mental body, and in the spiritual body. So if you take those two and use those two for gauging connections, and you look at it like, okay, the emotional body is the one that is just going to tell me how much mess we have together, like how much emotional clutter we have that we could potentially run into barriers with. If you leave that part out and you look at those other two and you look at how those are lining up, then you begin to you're not feeling that emotional charge. Instead, you're using the mental and spiritual bodies to kind of determine the connection. The good thing about that is, what will happen is, because the emotional bodies are more clear of clutter and they're not sucking you to people that you're just going to play out your emotional clutter with, you will actually find that the emotional bodies of you and the person that you've connected with on a mental and spiritual level, and that's where the connection started with. So you didn't feel that pull. You didn't feel that pull of, I call it being pulled to the pain. You didn't feel that. But you had these other two faculties of your being that were connected. If you go from that space, you will find that as the emotional bodies begin to connect, because they will connect after the fact, just from the mind and the spirit getting so much more closer, the emotional bodies will begin to interact. So even though you did not feel that spark, they will begin to interact from the other deeper, more penetrating, more real, more solid aspects of the being are beginning to merge. So then the emotional bodies will begin to merge. But this is the thing, it's actually way better. It has the intensity of that pull that you get like right off the bat when it's somebody you don't even know and you're being pulled to them. That is the emotional body's auric fields of pain being pulled to each other. Okay, the clutter that they both have in the emotional body. So this is why you don't know this person, but you're pulled to them. Now when you do it the other way around, like I'm saying, when the emotional bodies start to merge, it is way more intense, but it doesn't have the bite. How can I say it? I can't say it's way more intense because it's not way more intense, but it doesn't have that bite. It doesn't have the pain aspect to it. It's really intense, but it's a blissful intense. When you're connected on the other levels first, and you allow the emotional body, you're dealing with someone who you didn't meet and connect based on the pain and clutter of the emotional body. Okay, it's actually so much better because it is a more blissful emotional body. So the way you feel the spark is not the spark of the way that pain pulls you together, and all the superficial things. It's more of an uplifting that becomes very, very, very blissful. It feels very secure, very stable. Because one thing you'll notice with the emotional bodies, when the pain of the emotional bodies clicks together with somebody, it always makes you nervous. Okay, because see, this is because you're unconsciously guided to this person. And the reason you're always going to have some level of fear and discomfort with it is because in your mental and spiritual bodies, you know that you have no clue what this connection is based on. It's subconscious. You're not consciously aware of it, but in your spirit body, you know that I don't know what this plug was that just put us together, but I know it's pain and I don't know what the fuck is going to happen after this. See, that's what's happening. And that's the reason that you have this fear, because soon as that hits, it's scary as hell. And that's just because those pain bodies hit and it brings up that intensity. When it's a real, true spiritual connection, that is not there because it's not occurring through the emotional body first. So like when me and my twin met, there was no, what happened, it was just a resonance, a knowing. It was like we had known each other forever. We started being together every single day from that day forward. We talked probably 12 hours a day, every day. We were inseparable. It was like that. But we hadn't even slept together yet. It was just I've known you forever. You were my favorite person in the world to be around. And I could just talk to you forever. Like I sat around, I love to listen to him talk. Like the way his mind worked, it was like fascinating to me. So it was almost like watching TV, like just listening to him. So that was the nature of it. It wasn't like, and we slept together immediately and we couldn't contain ourselves because it wasn't coming from the emotional body. It was coming from the soul. So then as the other parts of us started coming together, the emotional body, things like that, there was never that fear. Okay, I never felt that with my twin. See, the fear comes in with later on from the mental body and maybe some of its belief patterns that it's stored up. So the mental body has things stored up in it that it will introduce that can bring about the fear. But you have to have time to think about that, and initially you really don't. You see what I'm saying? So I could talk about this all day, but that is some more information to really understand emotional connections and why the Bible says that the heart is the most deceptive of all. It is because that emotional body, you never know why it's guiding you to where it's guiding you to. And if you think it's only because of love, you will be deceived. If you think that the emotional body is pulling you to someone only because of love, and that is the only reason you can feel intensity and the only reason you can be strongly, strongly, strongly pulled to someone, your heart will deceive you, which means your emotional body will deceive you. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, guys. Remember, 5 Hours to True Love Boot Camp will help. I keep saying, I feel like I'm saying that so much because I know that it's helpful and I want people taking it and I want people doing it, but I feel like I'm saying it all the time. Okay. So, but that's that, guys. I love you guys so much. I wish you all the love that your heart can hold. Okay. Bye, guys.